of all, I'd like to say hello to all of my many friends, also to my many enemies. Once again, this is Roosevelt with another episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off. I've been gone for a while, but as you see, I'm back. Long time, no blog or anything, just taking care of like personal business and everything. And I'm back reporting on a news story, and I wanted to wait a couple of days to kind of report on this one. Is dealing with a police shooting that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota on this past Saturday in South Minneapolis, which is supposed to be like a nice neighborhood. It was a young lady who is, or should I say who was white, who's an Australian national, and I guess she heard like some noise in the back of her house, so she heard a scream. So she decided to try to call the police. And when the police showed up, she was actually murdered by one of the police officers, Muhammad Noor. And Muhammad Noor was the first Somali American police officer within his precinct at the time. And I think last year or two, when he came onto the force, it was like that the mayor of Minneapolis, I guess they thought it was a good thing and everything. But this, he's Somali Muslim, and he ended up murdering her, basically in cold blood. And so basically, it's kind of hot, so just bear with me. I have a couple of news clips that I would like to show. One that was taken like 36 hours after the shooting, and another one from her stepson, where he was talking about it and the lack of transparency coming from the Minneapolis Police Department, because sometimes whenever police kill you, it's almost like no one can get an answer. So let me bring you these two clips, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
In almost 36 hours, and there are still so many questions about a police killing a woman in South Minneapolis.
No official explanation from police and no video from the officer's body camera or squad car. The shooting happened Saturday night in an alley near 51st Street and Washburn Avenue South. Rachel Slavic joins us live with what we know and the questions that remain. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning, Kim. And Minneapolis police will not be the ones providing the answers to those questions. Rather, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. That is the agency that will be overseeing this investigation. And so far, they haven't said much. Here's what we do know. Police responded to 51st and Washburn late Saturday night on a possible assault call in the area. At some point, a Minneapolis police officer fired their weapon, killing a woman who friends have identified as Justine Demond. Those who knew her say she was a meditation teacher and a life coach. Hundreds gathered last night at the alley where she lost her life on Saturday. Many are questioning why the officer's body cameras were not turned on.
I don't know anything about the law or police work to that extent, but to me it seems really stupid. You mean you have a body camera, aren't you supposed to use them? You guys hiding something? What's the deal? Or did you just forget?
I am heartsick and deeply disturbed. And like you, I also have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about why the body cameras weren't on, questions that I hope and anticipate will be answered in the next few days.
Now, police say that the body camera program is fully rolled out within the department, but they would not give specifics on what the requirements are for officers to turn on those body cameras. Those two officers involved in the shooting are on paid administrative leave, and that is standard.
Rachel, what about the dash cam? What do we know about any possible video from that?
Well, we do know that the dash cam was turned on in that squad car, but it did not capture that shooting. So police are looking to see if there is any surveillance cameras on the homes around to see if that could give some more insight into that officer-involved shooting.
Okay, Rachel Slavic, thank you.
Hi, I'm Bethany with Women's March Minnesota. I'm here in Southwest Minneapolis, my neighborhood, blocks from my house. And I'm here with Zach, whose mother was shot by the police last night. And I want Zach to be able to share his story and the lack of transparency that the police are giving him.
Alright, so basically, my mom is dead because the police officer shot her for reasons I don't know, and I demand answers. And if anybody can help, just call the police and demand answers. I'm so done with all this violence, It's so much bullshit. America sucks. These cops need to get trained differently.
Zach, can you
I
share
need to
what
move
you
out of
know
here.
about the situation?
I just know that she heard a sound in the alley, so then she called the police. And the cops showed up. And she was a very passionate woman. And she probably, she thought there was like something bad was happening. And then next thing I know, they take my best friend's life. So I'm just done.
And
fuck the police.
Zach, you've been
Some of
trying
you are
to get
good,
in
but like I'm
contact
just
with
done.
the police,
I'm
and
so done.
they're not answering your questions.
This has to stop. This has to stop.
That was your best friend, you said?
It was
That's
his
my mom.
Or your mother?
It was his mother that was shot last night, and the police won't talk to him or give him any answers.
Well, my name is Mel Reed. This is King Demetrius. I don't know if my name is familiar to you. I actually work on this issue.
We'll share more information as we know.
Okay, so you saw those two clips, those two news clips. So let me break this down and let me tell you what I personally think of this. Now, first of all, it's no kind of a way that somebody should call for help from the police. These are people who are sworn to uphold the law and sworn to protect us, but yet, you know, you can get killed by the police and you just trying to help yourself or help somebody. And basically, you know, how could she be armed? It's so stupid because she came to the car in pajamas and she was addressing and talking to his partner. Of course, his race hasn't been identified as of yet. She was addressing his partner, but then he reaches over his partner and shoots her anyway, which is so stupid because she wasn't even addressing him. And a couple of other news reports and everything that I've been seeing, he had made a statement, said that he was spooked. Why was he spooked? The problem with a whole lot of these police officers is that I feel that they're just too trigger happy and too anxious just to use that gun, because having that gun, they feel like it gives them a sense of control and a sense of power, and they just can't wait until somebody gets out of line or until they think that they're scared of something just to be able to use it. And the biggest excuse that they always come up with is, I was in fear for my life. Lies. Lies. Lies, Minneapolis PD. How could a woman who's calling the police do something threatening to you in the car? And like I always say to people, if you're going to be that much in fear and be a police officer, then you don't need the job. Don't take the job if you can't accept what goes along with it, because that's what you swore to do, is to uphold the Constitution, and you swore to serve and protect. So sometimes serving and protecting might require, should I say, you know, an officer possibly being killed in the line of duty. If you're not willing to make that sacrifice, or if you haven't gotten in your stupid head that one day you might have to make that sacrifice, don't take the job. That's how I look at it. And that's how I feel about it. No one is ever going to change it. And plus, another problem I have is, we don't completely, you know, we can all sit around here and say whatever, and we can all sit around and guess like what's wrong, but there is no video cam footage of this particular shooting. And Minneapolis Police Department was one of the first police departments to order those, you know, cameras that officers, the body cams that officers will place on them, and the cams that's in their car. There is no camera footage in the car or on the body cams of even of the officers. And Muhammad Noor, you could tell that he was possibly at fault, because they said that he tried to ditch his weapon. And this is bad, but I can also look at it maybe from the other side and everything too. Because if you notice, there's certain things in this particular case you're not hearing in others, like the Rekia Boyd case or the Mike Brown case or Laquan McDonald or Tamir Rice. You see that, you know, because this is a black, so-called black Somali Muslim officer and a white woman who was the victim of murder, that you see that they're not victimizing her. They said that she was, you know, a good person, and that she was a spiritual instructor, that she would help anybody. You know, they're making it sound real good. But if it was a black person, you know, especially when they know that they screwed up and when they're at fault, They're always going to find a way to make the black person look bad. Oh, well, you know, they had a criminal record in them. They smoked a little bit of weed and everything before they were stopped. They got too belligerent. They decided to use a cuss word or two. But you see, that's not happening here in this case. And another thing is that the police officers, even normally in a police shooting, it could take days, almost a couple of weeks, before the officer involved in the shooting is identified. But it only took, because this is a black Muslim Somali police officer, it only took a couple of days, maybe less than a day, for him to be identified and for his picture and everything to be out there, and for them to even say and talk about some of the questionable things on the force that he's done. Come to find out that I think last year he has like 2 or 3 open complaints against him. But if it had been a white cop, you know, they wouldn't have put this out here. They would have only talked about like how good the police officer was and this and that. But I know what many people are going to say out there. Roosevelt, you're taking this whole tragedy and turning it into a race issue. No, I'm not turning it into a race issue. It's America itself that has turned this into a race issue. I believe in every single body, whether you're red, yellow, black, or white. You know, no matter what kind of income level, no matter what kind of religion, whatever your so-called sexual preference may be. I mean, I believe in every single body being treated the same. I believe in justice being the same for all people. So therefore, a black person who is the victim of police shooting, like the Mike Browns and Rekia Boyds. I mean, with Rekia Boyd and even with Laquan McDonald. Golly, they went all the way back until when he was 2 years old, talking about possibly like in school what kind of wrong stuff he could have done and this and that. But with white people, it's different. I believe in everybody being treated the same, no matter what. People, they always show this statue in a whole lot of courtrooms of Lady Justice holding up the scales and is blindfolded and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you ever notice, with white America, Lady Justice is blindfolded. But when it comes down to blacks and Latinos, you take Lady Justice in the black and Latin neighborhoods. Hey, I'm going to just put it like this. The bitch got eyes, okay? I believe in the same thing for everybody. This was the dream of the late Dr. Martin Luther the King. That he says that you should not be judged on the content, you should be judged on the content of your character, not by the color of your skin. He believed in justice for all, for everybody being equal and being the same. It doesn't matter if a victim of police brutality is black, whether a police brutality is white. That's how come I'm bringing you this story, because most of you all are used to me bringing the story whenever it's just a black victim. But if police are wrong and bogus, I can bring it to you whenever there's a white victim too. But I also noticed, and I look at it from the other side, and I notice that they're handling the white victim more with with kid gloves. And we're just going to go and see how this whole thing plays out. I haven't heard any kind of cries or anything from the right wing or even from the Blue Lives Matter crowd, trying to defend this officer. Let's see if they defend this officer like they've defended Darren Wilson or George Zimmerman or, some of the other ones. Let's see if they defend this officer here. And this is just bad to happen in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, when they've just gotten over 2 police shootings. First of all, the shooting a couple of years ago of Jamar Clark, and last year of Philando Castillo. But now it's another police shooting in Minneapolis. What's the matter? It's the city of police, Minneapolis police, just bloodthirsty or what? It's just getting as bad as Chicago. So I feel it's wrong on both sides. That number one, there was no video camera footage of this, and that he did try to ditch his weapon, and that she came out of the house and she was unarmed, addressing and talking to the officer who was driving. Muhammad Noor was just on the passenger side. He just needed to just sit down and shut up and not do nothing. That's what he should have done. So I'm bringing this case to you because I feel that it is wrong. And if it's a victim of black who's wrong, hey, if it happens to a white person and is wrong, I can bring it to you also. Even if I don't care if it is by the hands of a so-called black Somali Muslim police officers. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel for more news updates and to get my unique perspective on things. And hope to see everybody on the next video. Peace and blessings to all.